Evening, evening. Sherry, Robert, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? Doing all right over there?
Huh?
Doing okay? Doing okay?
Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Good.
I saw on Facebook that you were looking for a shipper. I think you were looking for something at Shippers. Was that you? That could have been somebody else. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. No, it's probably somebody else. Yeah.
Because you come across shippers all the time when you know doing your delivery with
Oh, yeah, all the time, man. And I still got some in my back pocket that I need to contact, but I see things and I try to share it, so hopefully that somebody will go ahead and jump on it.
Yeah, I got a broker buddy that called me and wants me to help him a little bit find shippers, and he will offer a percentage for that residual. I was like, well,
oh yeah,
he's trying to get the brokerage started, so I'm not sure where,
How long has it been? How long has it been?
I think he's been, I would say, between a year or two. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, I think it's a good opportunity to go ahead and just see what you can do. If you want to, I work with you, whatever.
Yeah.
You can do. Nothing
Yeah.
promised. Nothing promised, but
Yeah, the shippers that you are familiar with or you have access to, what equipment type and commodities do they deal with?
Yeah, flatbed, refrigerated, and box. Dry van.
Oh, okay. So they do all three. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're all over the country, so you see pretty much everything when you're dropping your loads off, and
Talked to a guy that did, I guess it's a double deck, I don't know, double deck, triple deck, or whatever it was. He had this big old machinery, man. He had this big machinery, they operate a certain time at a certain time, but during the day. So at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they got to park. And
okay.
I'm like, wow, you must getting a good rate on that right there, and $1,000 for that load there. He said, that's a little bit more. I'm like, wow.
Wow. Man. Yeah, so I'm gonna look for a few shippers to see what I can.
I'm gonna get on down the road.
You under something right now?
I'm going taking the load to Mount Vernon. A diesel load,
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna listen in, man.
Yeah, I'm waiting for people to come in. So okay.
All right. You looking up shippers?
Yeah.
Look up. Oh damn, what's his name? Hicks Oil. Hicks. Hicks Oil.
Oh, a company called Hicks Oil.
Yeah.
DeQuoin, Illinois.
Yes.
Yeah, I got him right here.
Check him out.
Okay, Hicks Oil. So that's going to be okay. They do flatbeds and dry vans.
Yeah. They do tankers too. I got a load of oil and transmission fluid one time. Took it up to Buffalo, New York time. But they say the oil and with the cases that you put in your car, the containers that you put in the car and everything. You ship that, and you need loads of bottles, containers, empty bottles of containers. The oil in the inside of it. So they orders of milk from Chicago somewhere.
Okay.
That's just a hint. Give him a call and talk to him a little bit, hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna see where how much volume they got, how far will they go out, as far as over the country. Do they go? What states do they service? I'm sure they're all over. If it's an oil company, they got to touch everybody.
Oh yeah, I dropped a tanker load off in Buffalo, New York, one time. But their special blend or whatever they do to it, to make it their product, they got to order.
Yeah, they're the manufacturer, so.
Right.
Okay. Now I got to get back to the supply chain. The supply chain where you do raw materials. Then you do the manufacturers, the wholesalers, retailers,
right.
distributors. So.
Right.
So
those containers that they ship that product in.
Okay. So in each of those categories under the supply chain, there has to be, different shippers to accommodate that. So raw material shippers, manufacturing shippers, wholesale shippers, distributing shippers, and then retail. So it's just finding which one will probably be the easiest entry point. I would say, well, I can't really say raw materials because, eventually, probably manufacturers, if I was a betting man.
Right.
So I'll give, they're closed now, so I'll give Hicks Oil a call and see if I can speak to, well, here's their website. Let me open up another link, their website, see what they got going on with their website.
Right.
See what their volume is and here's their products.
They did pretty good. Like I said, they got loads that come out that needs to be shipped out and everything, either maybe 4 or 5 times a week, maybe or something. And they've got own operators that come in. Loads. I happened to see the list. Matter of fact, they had sent me a load number, and they CC'd it, but I was able to open it up, and I seen all the other brokers. That was that they had on their list.
Yeah. See, and they have owner operators. They don't have dedicated trailer trucks. They have owner operators who come in and or brokers who bring in owner operators.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do some homework on them before I call, so I can sound a little bit more educated when I'm talking to them.
Right. Yeah, the times I have went in there, those, so look around the warehouse and everything and see what's going on, and I'm idle time, so I like to ask a few questions of things. What's going on? Such and such. Often you do your shipping and everything. Do you use brokers or do you use carriers or what?
Well, right. So you're pretty much laying the groundwork right there. Just asking those preliminary questions. Let's see, we got somebody joined on with Sherry. Marquita Davis. How are you? If you can hear me, let me see. Yeah, your mic is open, but I'm not sure if you can hear me. Marquita, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I extended an invitation to everybody on social media as far as Q&A, some questions that they may have. Even those who joined the Facebook group have any questions. I see we have someone on right now. Any questions, Marquita? Or can you hear or see? All right, so let's see. Marquita. Okay, can you?
Hear you. Hello?
Hey, Sherry. Hey, Sherry. I'm trying to see if I can get Marquita on the mic, too. How are you doing, Sherry?
I'm good. Just have a little bit of cough here.
Okay, there's Marquita. Hello, Marquita. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Okay. So let me know if you have any questions. And then, Sherry, did you have a question?
Not really. I was just doing some calls today, and I swear every person I called was Spanish. So they can't help me. I don't understand nothing what they're saying.
You know what? I've been working on getting a Latino translator for the platform to see if we can, because that'll be a good niche to target Latino owner operators. It's an untapped niche, and I've been trying to get with my Latino friend. Because of the COVID, it's been kind of hard. But we'll go. Yeah. And Marquita.
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm okay. This is your first time logging into this live.
Yes, sir, it is.
And what brought you here?
I recently took a class with Right Lane for dispatching, and I learned a little bit, but I'm still kind of lost. So I'm just kind of exploring to see what more I can learn. I'm not there yet.
Okay, so let's walk me through that. I've heard of Right Lane Logistics, I think it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so and they taught you about being.
I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Hello? Hello? I think he's there. Hello?
Yeah, hold on.
I think he got cut out.
Yeah, hold on, though. Don't go anywhere.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Stay there.
Okay.
All right. So how's the weather in you guys' neighborhood? Hello? Anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. What's up, Doc? No, I just asked, Charles got cut off for a minute. He'll be back on, but I was just asking about the weather. You know, how's the weather in everybody's neighborhood, you know?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with issues with free conference call for some reason. It happens just about every training. I gotta probably switch up online stuff. Marquita.
We can't see the screen, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna share the screen real quick. Hey, there you go. Share the screen. Yes. Yeah, if I go in and out, just be patient because I'm getting kind of tired of free conference call. I'm gonna probably switch it up a little bit. All right, can everybody see the screen, everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so right lane logistics freight dispatch training. So can you give me a kind of a synopsis of what they explained to you, and then what questions you have?
We pretty much went over what it was to start up, where I wanted to start up. They did give us some examples of the paperwork I would need and how to do factoring and all that, but it just really wasn't hands-on, I guess. And it was more of a lecture. It wasn't more of an experience what I would actually do. So I learned something, but it wasn't enough so I felt comfortable enough to just actually want to do it by myself, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. So what I try to do in my training platform is do a more hands-on, some live training, some examples with calling carriers live, calling brokers live, showing how to do the carrier packets and the rate confirmations, explaining what they are. What else? In a way that, because my philosophy is, what better way to train you than to actually show you what it is that you are going to eventually do yourself if you are going to be a freight dispatcher. Freight dispatching involves carriers. You're getting a carrier under a dispatcher agreement. That's number one. You can't dispatch for anyone if you don't have anyone that you are, have under a dispatcher agreement or some type of agreement. Where the agreement meaning that the carrier says, or the owner operator or the truck driver, those are all synonymous terms. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So the dispatcher agreement is the agreement between the dispatcher and the owner operator, the carrier, and the truck driver, where the truck driver says, yeah, I can use your services, help me find freight, help me find loads, and I'll give you a percentage for that service. So as a dispatcher now, then you would learn how to go to either a load board to find a load for them based off of what requirements they have. You would either go to brokers, go to direct shippers, however or whatever way that you use to find the load for that carrier, you find it for them, and then you negotiate the rate, you talk to the broker, make sure that the amount for the load is in agreement with the carrier, and then you book that load by doing the carrier packet, the broker carrier agreement. That's what the carrier packet is. Filling that out, going through that process, getting that carrier set up with that brokerage, and then you also do the rate confirmation to officially book the load. Now, I don't know how far along in the process that the other training gave you to explain what it is those things are. But and then also too in the carrier in our training under Module 1, carrier acquisition, where you get the carrier under an agreement, we try to focus on the three main equipment types, which are the 53-foot dry vans, the 53-foot refrigerated trailers, and then the 48 or 53-foot flatbeds. Are you familiar with those equipment types?
Yes, we talked about those.
Okay, so you are familiar with those equipment types?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the reason why I start for beginner dispatchers to lay the foundation for those equipment types is because they are the ones that are out here the most. They are the ones that you can find loads for easily and move the loads. Now, as you gain more experience and you start finding loads for those equipment types, you can progress and move to other equipment types like hot shots, straight trucks, sprinter vans, whatever else, or whatever other ones you decide. But to keep it simple for you, on the basics level, Dispatching 101, we just mainly focus on the dry vans, flatbeds, and reefers. The dispatcher agreement, did they go over any type of contract or agreement between the dispatcher and the carrier in your training?
They didn't really go over it, but they gave it to us, if that makes sense. It's like they gave us all these documents, but they didn't kind of, they told us
did you understand what it meant?
I do, but it was like, you know, you can don't use it word for word, but kind of make it your own, if that makes sense.
Right. So I'll show you an example of, and this is my back office website. It's mainly for, the reason why you're seeing it is because you're in the live training now, but it's mainly for those who are enrolled subscription members. But the sample dispatcher agreement, and this is just a template of mine to follow. So if you were to start your dispatching company, you can have your own logo, what have you. This is just an example. Exodus Logistics, this is us. Your name would be the dispatcher, phone number, your email if you have a professional email, and a website if you have a website for your business. And then the dispatch agreement is pretty much the jargon and the legalese between you, the dispatcher, and the owner-operator, whereby you are getting information from them and they are saying that they will agree to use your services and pay you a specific percentage. The going percentage range for a dispatcher is between 5 and 10% per load. So if you book a load for an owner-operator and it's a $3,000 load and you charge 10%, then you're getting $300 for that load, and that's one load. So imagine if you book like a week, 3 to 5 loads, so you can make $900 to $1,500 a week on that one carrier. And then imagine if you're doing that across 5 different carriers. So now the numbers can look that way, but you have to build to that point first. You have to start from the ground and establish the foundation, understand the process and the workflow of actually doing it, and then you can scale or add more carriers to your company as you begin to understand the process and know exactly what it is. You follow so far?
Yes, sir, I got you. We even set up, it's like we did the paperwork part of it, but we didn't do the hands-on. Like we even did the logo, set up, register, all of that. But we just didn't do the actual hands-on part of it, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah, so you didn't actually have you spoken to a carrier? Have you tried to solicit your service to any carriers to get them under an agreement? You haven't done that?
No, sir.
Okay, so
I just look good on paper, but I don't have any experience with doing what it takes to get it done.
Okay, so under carrier acquisition in our module, we have different ways that we try to acquire carriers. One of the ways is if you have like any truck stops in your physical location of where you live. I don't know what state you're from, city and state, but within a 20 to 25 mile radius of where you live, the number one way is to go physically to the truck stops to either pass out flyers or talk to carriers there, letting them know that you are an independent freight dispatcher and you can help them find good paying loads. And maybe you're even part of a network of dispatchers that can help find the loads. That's the number one way, where you physically show your face and you physically start a conversation with the carriers. If there are truck stops in your location within a certain radius. Robert asked a question. I'm assuming he's posing it to you, Marquita. Was there a script given? Did your training give you a script on how to get carriers?
No.
Okay. Okay, so the number one way is the truck stops. Number two we do is cold calling, where you call someone. We have several, at least two resources that we use to cold call carriers, where we talk to them and ask them, we'll tell them who we are as dispatchers, and we ask them if we can offer our services to them. Now, there's ways of doing that. There's either scripts or there's even conversations that we can do. And I can give you an example of that. I have two resources. One of the resources is, well, both of them are load boards. You know what a load board is, correct?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Well, one of the load boards that we use is Truckers Path. The other one we use is the DAT directory, where we go on there and look for carriers, and we vet those carriers out to make sure that they're not part of a brokerage, because we can't call carriers who are assets under another brokerage, because we're going to be dealing with brokers trying to book loads for them, and that gets into the realm of double brokering. So with cold calling, we go to, I'll use the first resource, Truckers Path, and in conjunction with Truckers Path, I don't know if you can see my screen, in conjunction with Truckers Path, I also use the company snapshot from the FMCSA website, which is called Safer. So Truckers Path, there's a load board feature on Truckers Path, and then there's a truck search feature on Truckers Path. Now, if you are an enrolled member on this training, you get access to the truck search feature. So I'm logged into Truckers Path. Now I'm using one of the two methods, cold call methods that we train on, which is the truck search feature. So when you first log in, you're brought to this screen, and then you see loads, truck search, GPS tracking. I'm going to select truck search, okay? And then I hit truck search. It's going to give me a result set of all the carriers, irregardless of the equipment type that they have, that are currently logged in at this moment in time. Right now it's saying 62, so we'll see once this is finished spinning. So it says, okay, now it's 115 carriers currently logged in right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to filter the carriers based off of those three equipment types that I mentioned earlier, the flatbeds, dry vans, and reefers. So I'm going to leave pickup for all states. Unless you want to target a specific state, I would highly suggest to leave this feature selected at all states, so you can increase the likelihood of you getting a carrier. Equipment, drop down arrow, I'm going to check any to deselect everything, and then I'm going to select the three major equipment types: flatbed, van, and reefer. And then under safety rating, I'm going to just select satisfactory. So I'm going to uncheck conditional, because I don't want to have a conditional nor an unsatisfactory rating on one of my carriers, because I call a broker, they're going to look at that carrier's MC number and see that, then the likelihood of them getting a load with a conditional or an unsatisfactory rating is not a good chance. So now, so do you follow those three right now? Are you following me?
I am.
Okay, so I hit search. Now you notice I selected certain criteria, so this 115 is going to decrease because I changed the filter. So 115 is going to change to something smaller. And this is just module 1. Module 1 is carrier acquisition. If you go back, little sidebar. Module 1 is carrier acquisition. Module 2 is load boards, where we go over what load boards are, what are the different features of the load boards, how to properly navigate the load boards to find the loads for your carrier based off of your carrier's profile. Module 3 is booking the load. So once you find that load, the conversations you have with the broker to book that load for your carrier based off of your carrier's profile. And then module 4 is, once your carrier delivers that load and gets paid, then you invoice your carrier for your percentage, right? So right now we're talking about module 1, where we're dealing with carrier acquisition. We're trying to get our carrier under an agreement. So, okay. So now we got, instead of 115, we got 63 now. And they're going to be either a flatbed, van, or reefer, because we only have flatbed, van, or reefer selected. And they're all going to be satisfactory because we only check satisfactory rating. So now if you notice, how you read this is, this person logged in a minute ago. They are this is the name of their company, Noble LLC, flatbed equipment type. Satisfactory rating, of course, the person's name and their phone number. At the end of each line, there's a little drop-down blue arrow. If you click that, it'll expand that specific person's information. In it, you have more detailed information about them. So I usually take their MC or DOT information, copy it, go over to the Safer website, and select the one I selected. In this case, it was MC. In the Safer website, you can look up a carrier based off of their DOT number, MC number, or name. Do you know what DOT and MC numbers are?
No, the MC number is the motor carrier number, right?
Right. And then DOT?
I ain't sure on that.
Okay, the motor carrier number, yeah, and they're both unique numbers. The U.S. DOT is the U.S. Department of Transportation number. It's a unique number that identifies the company. So does the MC. The MC number is a unique number that identifies that trucking company that was issued and authorized to that company by the FMCSA, which is the Federal Motor Carriers Safety Administration. So once that person's MC becomes active, they are allowed to transport freight across the country, back and forth, so on and so forth. Okay? And they can do that either interstate transporting or intrastate. Intrastate is they can transport freight, and that's just DOT. They can transport freight within the state that they live or that they registered that DOT in. Interstate, or the MC authority, because they can transport freight all over the country. Okay?
We got to have both of them?
No, you can have a DOT. I know people who have DOT, but they don't transport freight outside of the state for which they live. Like a person's in Texas, they can have, let me bring up a map. Person in Texas has a DOT, and he doesn't travel outside of Texas, but Texas is a big state, and he makes a decent amount of money. He doesn't want an MC because he doesn't want the responsibility that comes with it. But if he want to make more money, then he would so Texas, so he's from the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth. He has a DOT, but so he travels all, and he has a dry van trailer, so he travels all in the state of Texas. But Texas is huge. You know, Texas fills up, and some of the other states, you can put one state inside of Texas or several states because they're smaller. So, okay. You don't have to have both. I mean, it'd be good to have both if you want to travel all over the country and increase your likelihood of making more money as a carrier. Then you need an MC authority, and then you're going to have to need apportion plates. You're going to need IRP. You got to pay the taxes for the states that you travel in and get fuel out of. So there's a whole bunch of other contingencies that's involved in traveling outside of different states. Okay. Still with me?
I got you. Thank you.
Okay. So now back to the carrier acquisition part. I don't know if you were shown this part of your training, a particular method to try to go after carriers, the cold calling method. So I looked this person's MC up and copy and paste their MC into the search criteria. So now he's a part of a larger one. So when you come across this and you come across a larger number, I recommend brand new dispatchers or semi-new dispatchers starting out to start with companies that have 5 or less trucks before you call them. So this is a large trucking company. If you want to take on that challenge, that's fine. But I'm saying I'm recommending that just work with smaller companies. So what I'll do, I'll move on to the next one. See this flatbed, Joey Taylor. Let's look at this one. He's a DOT. And go back up, put the DOT information in. So right here. So this will be a consideration. 5 or less. May 2020, pretty young. 2019, they drove 295,000 miles. So that might be a good candidate to call. So when you call them, you would ask them about being their dispatcher. But I'm going to give you an example of that. Did your training provide any live calls, or did you hear your trainer speak to anyone or give you an example of what to do and what to say?
No, sir.
Okay, so here's one here, JF Transport. They're out of South Carolina. This person's name is Jason Ford. And he's a reefer. So before we call him, we want to make sure we got all our information. He's a reefer guy, Jason Ford, DOT 1-1. He's a reefer guy, so we'll see. Refrigerated trailer. Reefers are refrigerated trailers. Right now he is in Columbia, I believe, South Carolina. And this is a good number, 54655. It's the same number right here. So let's give him a call so you can kind of get an idea, kind of an example to follow when you call a carrier now of what to say, or at least something to start off with. And the call experience may be a good one, it may be a bad one, but at least
they called him already.
Say again.
Someone said I just called him. Maybe not.
Who? Somebody just called him? I didn't hear what you said, Marquita.
In chat, someone said I just called him Charles. I'm not sure if that's what they're talking about.
Hey Charles, that was me texting you saying I just called him. He said he on home time. He thinking about going back out next week.
Okay, so there we go. So Mike just called him. So we had a good conversation right there. So he's resting he's on home time right now, but he's thinking about going out next week. Did you get any other information from him, Mike?
You already know.
Okay. So if I were to call him, I'm not going to call him now because Mike called him, but if I were to call him, I would have asked him questions about, okay, he's a reefer. Does he like just 1-1s? Like a 1-1 means that the reefer trailer, it picks up one pickup and one delivery, one drop. And then how far does he want? How much does he want per mile? Cents per mile. For a reefer trailer, rates are starting to come back around, so you figure between $2.50, maybe $2.75, close to $3 a mile. Where does he like to go? What areas does he want to avoid? So if I'm a carrier and I'm hearing someone ask me this as a potential dispatcher, then I'm thinking, okay, that they're listening to me. They want to try to find me the best loads, going to where I want to go, when I want to go, and keeping me from the places I don't want to go. And that's the job of a dispatcher. You know, you always want to help and find loads for your carriers based off of their profile. So here's another one here, Elmer Velasquez. Let's see what this one is. Okay. He's in Maryland, you know, he's a, what is his equipment type? It's a dry van. Tampa, Florida. So Mike, have you called him yet?
On the rise.
Nah, I ain't called him.
Okay. All right, so if you can see my screen.
Hello?
Hello, can I speak to Elmer Velasquez?
Yes, it is.
How you doing, sir? My name is Charles. I'm with Exodus Dispatching. I'm trying to see if you're looking for a load or if you're under a load already for your van, the dry van.
Yeah.
You're looking for something or you're already under a load?
I'm still looking for load right now.
Where you empty at?
Actually, it's gonna be in Tampa.
When? Thursday?
So, yeah, it should be empty by 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock tomorrow.
4 in the morning. I mean, at 3:30 in the morning.
Okay, so you're going to get there at 3:30 in the morning, and you should be empty by 5 a.m., you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and then where are you looking to go? You just want something out of there, or are you going to go anywhere? Is there a special place you're trying to get towards, or what?
Anywhere.
And then what are you looking for as far as cents per mile? Like $2?
Yeah, depends on where we're going.
Okay. Well, I got your email here, Elmer VLQZ1 @gmail.
Yep.
I'll see if I can get you. You have a 53-foot swing door air ride?
Yes.
Swing door air ride? Okay, air ride suspension. All right. I'll see what I can come up with for you, sir.
Alrighty.
All righty. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so does that sound like something that you can do, Marquita? Have a conversation with the carrier?
I love it. Yes.
Now let's change. So that was a dry van equipment type. So if it was a reefer or a flatbed, then the line of questioning and the mode of the conversation would have been a little bit different because it's a different equipment type.
Right.
So, but I asked him some general questions. You know, he wants, $2 a mile. I wanted to see if he was under a load or if he was looking for a load. He said he's under a load now. He's going to be empty at 5 a.m. tomorrow because he gets there at 3:30 in the morning. He's going to be empty by 5. So he's figuring about an hour and a half it should take them to offload his truck. That's what he's figuring. And he said he's looking for about $2 a mile. He's willing to go anywhere. So now what I usually do is now from there, I got some preliminary information. I can easily call him back or let him know that I'm going to send a dispatch agreement to his email, or I can just have him with my website. I can have him go to my website. You can see the screen here under carrier services. I have an online dispatcher agreement and profile form where all I got to do is just send them a link to that. And they can just go online, right on their phone, fill out the information, online form, and just hit sign it and hit submit. They can sign it and then hit the submit button. I'm going to clear it. And it'll send an email to Exodus Logistics LLC, and I'll get that. So, but right now, and also with the profile. So the two initial pieces of paperwork that you're going to need from the carrier initially to get set up is the dispatcher agreement and the profile. The profile is basically the carrier telling you their information so that when you look for loads for them, you can cater your load search to their profile, right? So equipment type, they're telling you their trailer. He has a drive-in. What the weight limitations are, whatever that is. And everything else. So Robert asked, so let's do that. If you're willing to do that, Marquita, are you willing to do a practice call with me? I'll pretend to be the carrier and you're the dispatcher, or based off of what you heard, what I just said with this carrier live on the phone, because I'm not sure if you had any scripts. Well, you said earlier that you didn't have any scripts with your
I'm not quite ready for this yet.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So what we would do next is, while I still got this guy fresh in my mind, I would go to one of my load boards. And are you familiar with the Internet Truck Stop load board?
The Internet Truck Stop one? No.
Yeah, here I'm logging in right now. Which one are you familiar?
I think we did load board 1, 2, 3 and DAT or something like that.
Right. Yeah, DAT is an acronym that stands for Dial a Truck. That's one of the larger ones. I have that on this platform. 1, 2, 3 load board. I have that on this platform. And enrolled members, subscription members, have access to that. So right now, I'm on Internet Truck Stop. I'm logged in. As you can see, there's somebody's already logged in and doing searches. These are students who are searching, so I'm not touching that stuff. I'm going to enter my own. He says he's going to be empty in Tampa. So instead of doing this, let me do this. Instead of doing this, because this is the quick search area. Right here, you enter the origin, the equipment type, and the destination, hit quick search. I'm going to hit new search so I can put more detailed information in. So now, Tampa, Florida. I'll leave this anywhere. I'll leave it blank so it'll be anywhere. And I'll leave the radius 100 miles. His equipment type was what? A van? Yep. So we're going to select van. And pickup date is tomorrow's date, which is the 11th. So let's say the 11th and let's say the 12th. Let's say we can't find nothing on the 11th. Let's say the 12th. And then everything else being the same, we'll go ahead and hit search. So we got 102 loads there. Now the rate is over here. I'm going to put in order of highest paying to lowest paying. And 102, I'm going to change the number they show to 100, so I can see more of it at the same time. So there we go, right there. Okay, you with me so far?
I am.
So this is how we're navigating the load board. And if you have any questions about, and if I'm going too fast, just let me know. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. So now we got the rate, and I still have to move this over, but I don't know why someone moved my. I'll do it another day, I guess. Going to the settings, my account. I'll deal with that in a second. Account administration. Alright, I'll deal with that. I don't want to get too off track. So anyway, I put it in order of highest paying loads. Now, just because it's a high paying load doesn't mean it's a good load, because you can have a high number in the dollar amount, but the miles are high, which brings down the average cents per mile amount. So for example, the first one, you got $2,850, right? $2,850. So to figure out cents per mile, you take what the rate is paying and you divide it by the loaded miles. Did you know that?
No, sir.
Okay, so for every load you see in here, to figure out what the cents per mile is and what carriers are looking for, this first one is 2850, 2850, and you divide it by the number of miles, 1544. That's going to give you cents per mile, the dollar per mile. So that equals $1.84, $1.85 per mile. So that load is $1.80, and it's going to Canada. So, you know, okay.
Gotcha.
So let's go to. I'm gonna try to find him something a little bit more decent. Here's one. It's a 53 footer, 42,000 pounds. It's going from Orlando, Florida, which is 82 miles. Deadhead, which means deadhead means you got to ride your truck empty to pick up that load, 82 miles. So from Tampa to Orlando is 82 miles to pick that load up, and it's going to Baltimore, Maryland, 891 miles, and it's paying $1,500. So that cents per mile is 1,600 divided by, and I'm not going to include the 82 deadhead. I'm going to exclude that for now. So 891. So that's $1.79, $1.80. So that's actually less than that one. But this one was going to Canada. I'm not sure if you can cross the border or anything like that. So that's how you figure out cents per mile there. And you have other loads that they don't have the rates posted. Those ones you can actually talk and try to negotiate numbers with the broker. So let's look at let's look at one of the ones that's not posted. So and let's go off this carrier that I just called example. He went $2 a mile. So how would you figure out a rate that you're going to quote to a broker if you know your carrier wants $2 a mile and you know the number of miles that the load has? So for example, Tampa, which is where he's at, empty, going to Loxley, Alabama, is 498 or 497. That one just disappeared. What happened to it? Interesting. Well, that's okay. We'll do another one. Do you see? Go ahead.
Is that it? The 497? No, that's not easy.
There it is, right there, right there.
That's it.
I got it. Yep. So if there's no rate there's no posted rate, but you know that it's 497 practical miles, and right here, there's the rate, $726. So they put it in special instructions. So if you open up the load and go into the details of the load, it didn't have it up here in the posted rate, but it had it down here, 726, which is, so if we put our calculator, 726 divided by 497 practical loaded miles, that's $1.46 a mile. Now, your carrier wants $2 a mile. So you know it's going 497 or practical miles going 497. So all you have to do is just take the miles that is going and multiply it by how much your carrier wants for that mile, $2. And that is the amount that you start. That's your starting point with the broker. So you can, and I would round that up to like 1,000.
Okay.
You know. So again, so with you get that information from your carrier profiler. Once you get a carrier under a dispatch agreement and you receive the dispatch agreement back and the profile back, you look at the profile sheet, and on the profile sheet it tells you, or your carrier tells you that, okay, I want $1.75 a mile per load or $2 a mile per load for this equipment type, and that's your starting point with brokered loads, and then you can always move up based off of the extra instructions or details in the load that you're looking at on the load board. So if a broker says it has X amount of stops, X amount of pickups, X amount of drops, then that number is going to go up because that's extra work for your carrier. But your baseline is the number of miles that load is going times your carrier's cents per mile that they told you that they wanted in their profile. Okay?
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, so that person, Elmer, he'll be empty tomorrow, finding something out of Tampa, going, here's some other ones, one going to New York, Scott Logistics, I'm familiar with Scott, and it's leaving tomorrow, which is the 11th, Hamburg, New York. So how much, if he wanted $2 a mile, the rate is not posted. He wanted $2 a mile. Let's go into the details of that load. What would be your starting point if you were to call that broker and express interest in that load? And actually, the practical miles is 1220, but the actual miles, the actual distance is 1227. So what would be your starting point for a rate, Marquita, for your carrier if you were to call Scott Logistics and asked about that load? And they would ask, well, how much are you looking for?
I got $2,454, so would that be about $2,500 maybe? I'm not sure. Is that right? $2 times?
Yeah, you always round up. So yeah, 25. Yep. So Robert just asked, was there anything on 123 load board? So let's go to another load board. And
so is there like one load board that you prefer over the other one, or is just all of them pretty much about, just what?
All of them pretty much about the same, but if you could find whichever load board gives you the best paying load, a lot of the loads are pretty much quoted on every load board. Most brokers put all their loads on different load boards. So let's go to 123 load board. So we're in Internet Truck Stop. So let's go to 123 and let's log into that and put in Elmer's information coming out of Tampa for a dry van and see and you said you were familiar with 123 load board, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we're in 123 load board, so we're going to go to find loads. There's different features in here, rate checks, load availability. We can use all the features, but let's go to the one that we need right now. Let's find a load, and let's enter our information. He's going to be Tampa. So he's going to be empty in Tampa, Florida, and going anywhere. Let's exclude Canada. He's a van. Pickup date is tomorrow, and I'll say let's add Friday, just for giggles, all right? And I think that's it, right? Preliminarily. We can select specific companies that we know, but let's just do a preliminary search. So we have 57, right? 57 loads that popped up for coming out of Tampa, Florida within a 150-mile radius for tomorrow and Friday for a dry van. So I'm going to click the offer to put them in order of high-low. So here we go, the numbers popped in, right? So now, the beauty of 123 load board, if you open up the details of any one of the loads, it's going to give you information in here, and it's going to give you cents per mile right here. It already calculates it for you. So you can pretty much step over those rates that are not good. So we can close this one out because no one's going to move that load at $1 or 2 cents a mile, right? So we can scroll down, look at different ones. And like 1,371 miles at $800, that's ridiculous, right? So
do you ever click on them and like try to negotiate with them?
Well, the ones that are close to negotiable, I will, but the ones who have rates that are outrageously low, that's like crazy, no, because this was an LTL, so it's a less than truckload, so that's probably the reason why they It's only 5,000 pounds.
Okay.
So you can probably put maybe 2 or 3 of those loads on the same truck. So 5, 10. Let's see. You could put about, depending on the number of pallets, you can put about 3 or 4 of those loads on the same truck since it's LTL. So 4 times that is 3,200. So 3,200 going at 1371. Now that's a different thing. So if you got an LTL, you can load up a truck with
4 different loads.
that. Yeah, and then 3,200 at 1371. Now you maybe cook a little bit. You got that?
I do. I understand.
Okay, so that's $2.33. So that's good right there. But yeah, see, now this one here, that's $2.61. It may not be paying a high amount, but it's a good cents per mile average, and it's only going 153 miles. And Tampa, Winter Haven is only 44 miles from Tampa, and it's going to Naples. Now I don't know if that's north, going back up, or going further south. But the way to figure that out is always go to Google. So Winter Haven, Florida to Naples, Florida. And it's going further away. So Tampa's right here. Let's open up this. So as a dispatcher, this is something you got to kind of be quick on the draw, to see. So here's Tampa picking up in Winter Haven, and you're going down to Naples, which is right here. So see that? Tampa over to 44 miles east to Winter Haven, and then 153 miles south to Naples. So you're going further down. Now, if you were trying to get out of Florida, then you would find something picking up and going north, like going to Orlando or going to Jacksonville or Tallahassee, or even going to somewhere in Georgia, like to one of the distribution centers, like Tipton. There's a distribution center in Georgia. I think it's Tipton. So that's how you do that. But you would run this by them, by your carrier. Say, I got a load picking up tomorrow. It's paying $400. It's going 153 miles, but it's going a little bit further south. But it's paying $2.61 a mile. So he might say, "Yeah, I'll take that because that'll cover that'll come up, that'll cover fuel and I'll make a little bit extra money." And now Robert asked a good question too. What comes out of Naples? So what's coming out of Naples? So let's do that. So if we want to do that, then we would look at backhaul. So the beauty about 123 Load Board, you can look at backhaul loads too. So let's say he took that Winter Haven to Naples, and then we got a backhaul tab. There's 94 backhaul loads coming out of Naples. Now, where are they going? Are they going back to Winter Haven? Are they going in the state of Florida? Are they going anywhere? So we're going to look at the backhauls tab. Let's click the backhauls tab. And we got Naples back to Winter Haven. That's 26 loads. We got Naples within the state of Florida. That's 36 loads. This is how you read this. We got something coming out of Naples going anywhere, 94 loads. And then we got Florida going within the state of Florida, 75, and then Florida to anywhere, 212. So we want something out of Naples, either, let's say anywhere. So let's say 94. So I'm going to open up another tab for that and see what we get over here. So that's the beauty of 123. You can look for potential backhauls coming out quicker than you could with the other load boards. So let's go to the other tab. So now we got stuff coming out of Naples within 150 miles of Naples coming out. So let's put this offer in order and see what the numbers are. Now look at these numbers, 4,700, 2,200. So now we got Bartlow, which is 121 miles from Naples, going up to Connecticut, paying 22, is getting you out of Florida if that's what you want, or over to Texas or whatever. So you want to see what the mileage is and what the cents per mile is. Like this one here, that's going to Quebec. That's not. You're going to Canada and it's only paying $1.41. That's ridiculous. This one, $1.74. closer to $2 a mile, and it's getting you out into the East Coast, north. You can get a good load out of Connecticut. And then you got backhauls coming out of Connecticut. So now you're creating a chain reaction. You know, the beauty of 1, 2, 3, you're creating a chain reaction. So now you got something going up to Connecticut. So you could pretty much dispatch with 1, 2, 3 load board alone if you understand how to use the load board, use the backhauls tab, and then keep your carrier running consistently. So he can get 2,300 coming out down, 400 going back down, and then 2,200 coming back up. So that's close to $5,000, and he keep running for another 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. He can make about $10,000. But you have to be consistent with that.
Right.
So you could load plan for a week or two out, depending on where your carrier wants to run. So let's say he took that $400 load to pay for fuel to get down to Naples, Florida from Tampa, from Winter Haven, because he crossed over from Tampa to Winter Haven, 44 miles deadhead to pick up that Winter Haven load, went down to Naples at $400 at $2.61 a mile. And that was pretty good. He covered his fuel, and he made a little extra pocket change. Then he took a load from Bartlow. He had to drive 121 miles. He might have did his reset and drove over there and just waited till the morning in Bartlow, picked that load up, and then now he's going to drive that up to East Windsor, Connecticut. That's going to take, 1265. It's going to take 2 days at least, maybe 2.5, depending on how he's driving. Because you figure you're going to do about 600 miles a day, maybe 650, depends if you're driving 65 or 70 miles an hour. You're going to only drive 11 hours straight. You have to do a reset at 14 hours. So all that has to factor. And he's only hauling 15,000 pounds. So he's not burning as much fuel. Even though he's coming out of Florida going north, he's still not burning as much fuel because he doesn't have as much weight on the trailer. So these are things to consider as a dispatcher. 2,200. And then you may try to find some backhaul somewhere else. But we can look at other ones too. But you can use 1, 2, 3 load board alone with the backhaul feature and keep your carrier running all over the place as long as they're willing to take those loads. So let's do an example. Let's use me as an example. I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm actually in Virginia Beach, but I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. Let's say I have a dry van. I want to go anywhere starting tomorrow. So let's edit this. Let's change it to Norfolk. And we'll keep track of how much money I'm going to make in, let's say, 2 weeks' time. Right? So Norfolk, Virginia, I'll pick up tomorrow. Tomorrow or Friday. Okay? You with me?
I am.
Okay, so I'm a dry van. I'm picking up in Norfolk, Virginia, starting tomorrow. I got 66 loads. I'm going to click offer to put them in order. And I'm a driver who understands the market. How do I understand it? Let's go to the trend and see how much. Let's see how much dry vans are being paid right now. So let's go to our tools and look at the trend lines for dry vans. What's the rate coming out of my area for a dry van? So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that trend lines, but it shows national rates and the van, the load to truck to load ratio. So I'm in the Virginia area, so $1.64 per mile is the national rate right now. And this fluctuates. This is for a dry van. Okay? Now for a flatbed, the national rates are going to be higher. C, 203, 204, etc. And for a reefer, of course, the national rates are going to be higher than dry vans too because there's more responsibility, there's more things involved with reefers. But for a dry van, and for my example, I'm a dry van. I gave myself an example of being a dry van. So let's say $1.70. So I want $1.70. I'm in Norfolk, Virginia, and I'm a dry van. I'm a $1.70. So That's our baseline. So now Norfolk, Virginia, I'm going to also edit this one and put me instead of Norfolk, Virginia for a drive-in starting tomorrow. Okay, going anywhere, so it's the same thing. Let's have an origin. Oh, sorry, Norfolk, Virginia. Will help. Okay, so Norfolk, Virginia. So now my deadhead radius is about no more than 100 miles. So here we go, some loads here in this search here. So 123, Henderson, North Carolina. I got to go down south to pick up a load in Henderson and take it back up north to Berwick, Pennsylvania. That's paying right at what I wanted, right? But the problem with that is when you have your carriers deadhead, which means they're driving empty to pick up a load, you want them to drive in the direction that they're going to actually deliver that load anyway to deadhead to. That way it's a little bit better. It's efficient that way. So if I'm in Virginia, Norfolk, and I got to drive down to Henderson, North Carolina, and then take it back up to Philly, that's inefficient. But if I had a deadhead that was going in the direction of where I'm actually going to deliver anyway, then that's more efficient. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. It makes sense. I do.
Okay.
We're going
right.
that way.
Yeah, you're going that way, exactly. Instead of going out of the way, you know. Now maybe you can use that going out of the way concept as a bargaining chip to ask for more money. You can tell the broker, say, hey, look, my guy's in Norfolk, Virginia. He has to drive 123 miles or whatever that number was to Henderson, North Carolina to pick that load up and then come back up north to deliver it to somewhere in Pennsylvania. So can we have an extra $150, $200 to help cover the cost of fuel? And the broker's going to say yes or no. So, but that comes in time with negotiating and bargaining. So here's one, Chesapeake, which is close to me, 11 miles, going to Nab, Indiana. So there is no cents per mile in here, but you know that I wanted $1.70. So your starting point, you got the miles, $6.79. So you just take $1.70 and multiply it by the miles, correct?
Correct.
And there it is. So 1,200. Let's say 1,200. So if you were to get that 1,200, so I take that load, $1,200. It's going to take me 1 day to deliver this load. $6.79. I can do that in a day, maybe a day and a half at the most. Pick it up tomorrow, deliver it Friday. Late Friday. I need to pick up something on Friday and carry it over the weekend to my next destination. So that was $1,200. So I made $1,200 for a day and a half. Not bad. So my backhaul, I need something out of Nab, Indiana. And I'm just showing you this so you can understand how to load plan for your carrier.
Right.
How to keep it running. Huh?
So the backhaul will be what's coming back, right?
Yeah, backhaul is either coming back or picking up in this area within a certain radius and going anywhere else. You can either come back to where you, let's say that these were good paying loads. Let's say it was $2,000. Then when you get to Nab, Indiana, of course, your backhaul, you would definitely want something coming right back to Chesapeake so you can get another $2,000 load, right?
Right.
So that's the true backhaul, when you come back to exactly where you picked that load up to begin with. But other backhauls, you can pick up a load coming out of Nab, Indiana, coming not back to Chesapeake, Virginia, but back to somewhere in the state of Virginia. The next option would be Nab, Indiana, to anywhere in any state. Or you can pick up in the state of Indiana, not just Nab, and then going to anywhere in the state of Virginia. So Robert says, let's see. What did Robert comment? Let's negotiate add-on dispatcher fee. Oh yeah, yep.
Is there anything that you can't like put together like if you were doing that load and you say even though they don't pay what it pays and you have like space left in the truck and you see that there's another load on that way. I know that's not back. I guess it's considered not backhaul, but like I guess on the way. Is there anything that you can't like mix or something, or there's like any companies that will say I don't want anything in the truck? You know, you can't add in the truck or something like that. Am I making sense?
Yeah, those are. If you get a load, a brokered load that has in the carrier packet that load is a non-exclusive load. In other words, you can't put any other freight on that trailer but the load that you're currently under with that broker. If you get a broker if you book a load with that, then you're not allowed to do that. Otherwise, you can, if you got enough room to put another load on there going in that same direction, by all means do it. That's just more money for you, especially if it's like a flatbed. Flatbeds usually do that a lot more than anybody else. Maybe dry vans, but flatbeds are easy because you might put some partials on the flatbed, but if they're going in the same direction, you can do a full flatbed load with 2 or 3 partials and make a decent amount. But as long as the rate confirmation or the brokerage doesn't doesn't exclude you with just their load on your trailer, then you should be good. Okay?
Okay, gotcha.
And then negotiating the rate let's negotiate add on the dispatcher. So the dispatcher fee, so let's say we took this load, it was $1,200. So now you got to pay your dispatcher for every load that you book. Let's say you charge 10%. So $1,200, 10% of that is $120. So now Robert said to add in that fee. So now you want to add that 10% on top of the rate that you charge the broker, or you can negotiate with the broker. So when you first got the load, it was 679 miles times $1.70 a mile. Remember what that amount was, $11.54. So we rounded up to $1,200. We want to add our dispatching fee on top of that $1,200. So that we're not taking money out of the carrier's pocket, but we're getting more money from the broker to cover our dispatching fee. Most carriers, when you try to get them under a dispatch agreement, say, man, you're taking money out of my pocket. So we can give them a reassurance that we're not doing it that way. When we negotiate with the broker, we're pulling the money from the broker side to cover our expense. So it's like we're working for you for free. We're getting our money from the broker side. So let's say we put $1,200. We initially asked for the broker our initial number was $1,200, but we got to add another $120, which is 10% of that, which is our fee. So we're actually asking for $1,320, or let's say $1,350. So that'll be the number that we really ask for, because that covers our $120 and their $1,200. So $1,350. Let's say we ask $1,350. That's the number. So let's do another example so I can kind of reinforce that. So let's say I pick a load up from, and we'll keep it on me, Portsmouth, Virginia, 28,000 pounds, is going 2,900 miles, and I still do $1.70 a mile for my drive man. I'll go to California. So 2910. So the preliminary number is what? 2910 times $1.70 a mile is, sorry about that, is $49.47. So let's say $5,000. Then we charge, our dispatching fee is 10%. So 10% of 5,000 is 500. So we got to add another 500 on top of that. So that's what we're asked the broker for. So they'll say, well, what do you want for this load? What are you asking for? So to go from Portsmouth, Virginia in a drive van to Fairfield, California, we want $5,500 for that load. 28,400 pounds that you're carrying. So, see what I did?
So the dispatcher fee comes from the broker.
The dispatcher fee is negotiated from the broker side. We're not pulling money out of the carrier's pocket. we want to dispatch in such a way that when we negotiate rates, we want to make sure we add in our fee to dispatch on the broker side, to pull the monies from the broker as opposed to pulling it from the dispatcher. You never want to pull it from from the carrier. You never want to pull the money from the carrier. If you can't stand to pull the money from the carrier, then don't. You want to get it from the broker side because the brokers are the ones who have the money anyway because they're getting the money from the shippers.
Gotcha. I got you. Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see here. Chesapeake to NAB. We were looking at backhauls too, so let's say I want to come back to the state of Virginia, not just Chesapeake, but the state of Virginia. So let's look at that one. And so hopefully I'm giving you a little bit more than or I should say, hopefully I'm adding some value to what you've already been trained with, Marquita.
You actually have. I must have read my mind.
So we got backhauls coming back to Virginia too. So, and then you can find this load and then do another backhaul to go somewhere else. So on and so forth. And you can keep your guy running all over the place as long as you get the technique of how to book the load, add your rating when you're asking for. So what's your all-in rate? The broker's going to ask you, what do you want for this load? Then you got to figure out. So you have to know your numbers before you get on the phone with the broker. Once you see that a load, especially for those loads that don't have the rates posted, you have to know your numbers. The way you know your numbers is you already understand and know what your carrier is asking you cents per mile. So in my example, it was $1.70 with my dry van. So I knew that. So I just multiplied $1.70 times, let's say, for example, 515, and I got a number, right?
Right.
So $1.70 times 515 is that. That's the initial number. But then you got to add in whatever your percentage is you're charging for your dispatching fee, and that's between 5 and 10%. So let's say it's 7%. So you take this $875.50 times 7%. Let's say you charge 7%. So you charge $61.29. Okay, so $61.29. You want to add that to the $875.50, and in this example, that is what you will quote to the broker. So let's say $950. You always want to round up to the next decent whole number in multiples of 25, 50, 75, 100, right? So in this case, it would be $950.
Okay.
So when the broker, so once you figure that out, then you make that call and say, okay, this is what I want. And see, the beauty of 1, 2, 3 also, it figured out fuel prices too. This is what they're paying to drive 515 miles. They're going to pay $215.89 in fuel. So, but that's something that the carrier needs to know. They're going to deduct that from their costs. They're going to pay you their money, and then whatever's left over is theirs.
Gotcha.
Okay. Let's see, Robert. Do you know of any reading materials, books on negotiating? Yeah. What's the name of that book I got? I got one called You Can Negotiate Anything. I think it's by Robert Cohen. Let me look that up. It's a little small book. I got it upstairs. It's called You Can Negotiate Anything. Here it is right here. Robert Cohen. You Can Negotiate Anything. It's a little small book. It's blue. Here it is right there. Boom. It's right upstairs in my room. Herb Cohen, not Robert Cohen. Herb Cohen. You Can Negotiate Anything. It's literally upstairs. I can run upstairs right now and get that book. It's a good. The world's best negotiator tells you how you can get what you want. So read that. It's a little, and it's principles really. To be honest with you, it's principles, concepts and principles to negotiating, and those concepts and principles apply irregardless of the the genre or the space that you're in, whether it's transportation, whether it's business, whether it's real estate. If you apply the principles, then you can negotiate anything. So the key to that book is understanding what the principles are. So once you understand principles, just like life skills and life goals and life concepts can apply to anything in your life, it's the same thing with negotiating. That's all that means. Okay? Robert, did you get that? I think I lost you for a second.
Try it again. I'm in and out. Try it again.
The book is called You Can Negotiate Anything.
Okay.
Yes, I heard Cohen talk. It discusses basically it's about generalized concepts applied to any life skill that you can negotiate. Whether you're trying to negotiate a house, whether you're trying to negotiate in business, we can apply it to the transportation industry to also negotiate. You just got to understand the concepts and get a foundation in the concepts and the principles and apply that, and then you can pretty much win. So we could actually, if we want, kind of like integrate those concepts into our trainings to kind of see if we can apply and see if those concepts actually work when we are applying it to either trying to get carriers under a dispatcher agreement, when we are applying it trying to get loads from brokers, trying to win those loads and negotiate those numbers up. So we can go over the concepts, and go from there. And you guys, let me know what you think about that. That's not a problem. Go from there. All right. Any other questions? It's a small book, so it's not that expensive. Real small. 29. Let's see. Preview 29 pages. Okay. Any questions?
Very helpful. Thank you.
Marquita, I'm glad you tuned in as a guest. Hopefully you would consider joining either the training platform or at least the Facebook group or subscribing to the YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos in there, free videos, content. Subscribe to that. If you want ongoing training as you develop your freight dispatching business, then I would highly suggest considering enrolling into the platform. If you know someone who is in a similar situation, ask them to join the live training like this, and I can answer their questions for them and see if we can kind of get them over that hump a little bit. So. Okay. Oh, by the way, I put my I always put my cell number and email in for transparency's purpose. Okay.
I got it. I'll be in touch. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? I see Kobe's in here. Sherry's in here. Of course, Robert and Mike. So you got a new email, Mike. That's cool. All right. No more questions?
No, it's not a new email, Charles. It's something up with your screen. I heard other people saying it too. Like it looked like it's your screen when you share it. It's like it's some matrix or something. Maybe a whole bunch of boxes. So that's why I went on another computer so I could see your screen. On this one, I can't see it.
Okay, that's weird. I'm gonna have to check on. I'm gonna have to test that. I'm gonna have to test that when I get off with with my screen, my desktop upstairs, and see what's going on. I'm glad you said that. I appreciate that. All right, guys. See, it's Wednesday. Next live training will be Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. Any more questions, Marquita, you can come in with that, or you can text me prior to that if you really need some questions answered. And we just scratched the surface, to be honest with you. We just did an example of carrier acquisition. We either went over going to the truck stop, and we did the cold call where we actually called the carrier live. We had a little conversation with them, kind of give you a template and an example of what to do. We can do one where we call a broker live to kind of see what loads they have and discuss the margins and the numbers with that broker to see what we can get out of that load. So, and it's good to show people, again, what it is they'll be doing themselves in a live setting so you can kind of get an understanding of how that works. So you won't feel like you're alone and, you didn't get the short end of the stick in your training. So hopefully I try to fill in the blanks, if you will, with other trainings with more informative, more detailed, more basic level, foundational level questions. So, all right, guys, until Sunday, have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your week.